I'm Nick Shell. I'm the manliest vegan on the internet. Yeah, you heard that right. I'm the manliest vegan on the internet. No one has ever disputed that title. Think about the vegans you know in your life. Are any of them men? Are any of them manly? I'm both, and I'm the most of those things. Here's a new series I'm gonna just experiment with because I think it's cool. So in my office, I at the top of the garbage, I'll see boxes like this, boxes of stuff that people ate for breakfast or for lunch. And as an educated vegan who understands a lot about health by default, I analyze this. So I thought, if I'm going to do this privately, why don't I just go ahead and do it publicly? So today we're going to examine Jimmy Dean breakfast bowl meat lovers. Eggs, potatoes, sausage, cheddar cheese, and bacon. Now, one of the first things I notice about this box is right here. 24 grams of protein per serving. And so it is one serving, by the way. So it sounds like, is it 48? But imagine that. They're catering to a mentality. Now imagine me, a manly vegan, haven't eaten eggs or dairy in 4.5 years. I haven't eaten meat in nearly 5. I haven't had bacon or shellfish or pork in, it's almost 9 years now, okay? But yet I'm still manly. But people who buy into this concept that if you're masculine, you have to have all these things, especially the sausage and the bacon and the meat. And then of course they put that on there, protein. That's for people who still believe that we as a human race are lacking protein, especially we as Americans are lacking protein. It's like this. If you were to ask a doctor, say, in your career, how many people have you encountered that you had to basically get onto because they weren't eating enough protein? If he could think of any people, he'd probably mention someone who had an eating disorder like anorexia or bulimia, something like that. But as far as beyond that, which would be, wouldn't we agree that's a mental illness? I just watched the movie To the Bone on Netflix, so that's my understanding of it. That's more of a mental disease though. But as far as someone just has a healthy mind, but just doesn't eat enough protein, like that's an issue, like that's a problem. Ask a doctor. Now, but you'd also have to ask them the opposite of that question, which is, in your career, how many people have you encountered that eat too much protein? And then he may say, well, what do you mean? Well, if you're getting, you say, well, what would be a sign of eating too much protein? And then he'd probably say, well, that the person is overweight, probably has issues with obesity, that sort of thing, right? So what's funny is, especially America, is brainwashed to believe that we're not getting enough protein, when our real issue is we're getting too much protein, more than our bodies can process, and it's making us unhealthy. So right off the bat, the fact that it's catering to a demographic of people who don't realize that, and that are eating too much protein, and therefore obviously cholesterol and fat, which let's talk about that now. So on the back, it's 34 grams of fat, which is 52% of your daily intake. So let's just assume someone who's going to eat this for breakfast, the rest of their day, they've already covered over half of their fat calories. Do you think a person who's going to eat this for breakfast is going to consume less than half at that point? Do you think that same person who would eat this wouldn't go to eat fast food and wouldn't eat a bunch more meat for dinner? Do you really think that? I don't think that. And then also the cholesterol, 78% of your cholesterol from this, 78% from eating this one thing, which again, meat and eggs and dairy contains cholesterol. So good luck trying to eat 2 more meals with meat that don't have that amount of cholesterol remaining, only what, 22%? Good luck with that, okay? So it's so funny. And then of course, you know, the ingredients are just a bunch of chemicals. I mean, but what I find interesting about this though, they're speaking to a demographic is what they're doing. They're speaking to a demographic that thinks that there's this true thing of a lack of protein in the diet, and that you have to get enough protein. So they make sure the protein's in there, that all the meat's in there. And this represents America, and it represents real men, right? And I mock it, because why? I'm a manly vegan, and I understand that with my diet, with what I eat, I am always full. I'm never hungry. I'm never weak. I'm a strong guy. I'm not the biggest guy, but I'm strong and I'm healthy. Doctors confirm that. And yet I consume 0% cholesterol, 0% cholesterol, 0% cholesterol. Did you get that? 0%. So there's a big difference between me, a guy who's healthy, and then someone who's eating this just for breakfast. So this has been the manliest vegan on the internet versus Jimmy Dean breakfast bowl meat lovers with 52% of your total fat and 78% of your cholesterol. I'm actually amazed there's only half of your sodium for the day. It's 46%. So you heard it first from me. Was that interesting? Did I teach you? Remember, America is brainwashed that they're not getting enough protein. However, they've got diabetes, they've got heart issues, they're overweight and obese. And then a guy like me, I'm not those things. And yet I consume 0% cholesterol and I'm never hungry. But oh wait, I'm a crazy vegan, so no one can take me seriously, right?